So. Welcome, everybody, to another Thursday night Suplex City Chat. I'm, of course, your host with the most, Matty G. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, we are joined by our normal crew. One of our brothers in arms, one half the Deadly Boys, isn't feeling too good, so he won't be making it tonight, but that's all right. Jacob the Barber, we thinking about you. Feel better, brother, but let's introduce our panel of people. He is Evil Jones.
Hey, keeping it evil. Good to see y'all.
And, of course, he is one half of our Dudley Boys. He is Mr. JB3.
Yo, what is up? Ready to talk about some wrestling. Some crazy stuff was going on this week. A lot of good stuff, a lot of horrible stuff. Talk about it all.
Yeah, we definitely had some, as we put it, some good Attitude Era feeling stuff, some bad Attitude Era feeling stuff, and some wrestling. And, of course, this wouldn't be our tour through Suplex City if he's actually on time for once, you know. Sometimes that doesn't happen, but that's all right. He is our Painmaker, but he isn't there. Let's go over to our resident villain. What's up, brother?
What's up, guys? You know, it's Thursday, so, we got to talk that wrestling, the best wrestling show. We got a cast. So many diverse motherfuckers here. And, I got to school them every week, so I'm ready, brother.
I don't want to talk about school because that's kind of a low blow because I've been doing homeschooling for the last couple of days. But introducing our last member of the panel, he is our resident filmmaker, Mr. Black Pink.
What's going on, guys? This has been a very interesting week of wrestling. So let's just be honest. Yeah, I'm here to butt heads with the villain, contradict him, and most likely see the positives out of his negatives. I am the yin to his yang, or however that phrase goes. But you know what? Let's just talk some wrestling and, let's see how this plays out.
Yikes, gentlemen. He is the yang to villain's yang. Villain, would you like to touch on that real quick?
Oh, I guess he's got nothing to say.
No, apparently. All right, gentlemen. Well, let's start because we run on Thursday nights. We include SmackDown in our run. So let's talk about our first topic. That's Big E's single run. He comes out of the training room. Kofi looks fucked up. He is hurting, and he goes, I can't wrestle anymore. I'm going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. This is you. Big E comes out and has a hell of a match.
Against who? The
Miz.
The Miz.
Okay, we got to say that so everybody's watching knows.
Yeah,
well, we got to say the whole thing so everybody watching at home knows.
And Morrison was out there. He gets ejected. The whole thing.
I was going to say the ultimate jobber, but I didn't want to offend our Miz fans out there.
Hey, Miz is awesome.
At this point, the Miz knows what he's there for. He's there to entertain people and use WWE to get his shows off the ground, like that Cannonball and Miz and Mrs. So now that's okay. He's getting that money.
If you're on SmackDown and you're starting a singles run, you have to go through the Miz. If you're on Raw, you have to go through Dolph Ziggler. It's just the rules.
It's the truth. I think Big E is gonna do. It's a test. If he can make the Miz look good, then that's like okay, you passed the first test. Okay, now let's see what you can do. I'm hoping that Big E gets an Intercontinental Championship shot at SummerSlam now. I hope that's what it builds to. That's what it needs to build to.
He's obviously
Ain't that
wrestling.
showing like 2 weeks?
Yes, it is. And then a week after that, we have Payback.
Yeah.
All right, that's a lot to unpack, but
yeah, I get how the IC
go ahead,
title
go
might
ahead.
be the first. Oh, this will just take me 2 minutes. Look, I get how the IC title is the first go everyone wants Big E for, but to me, I kind of want Big E to shoot for the stars to go for the main title. We all know that there's 2 obstacles in his way, which is Braun and The Fiend, which is why I'm thinking if Big E gets the big belt, that leaves a lot of room for Braun and Bray to have their feud without the championship being in the way. Because to be honest, at this point, that belt is looking like the third wheel to this whole thing. And if the belt goes back on The Fiend again, who else they're gonna try to build up the ticket? Which is why I think it's smart they put it on Big E. That way, Bray and Braun can have that feud of theirs. So when The Fiend does come back, Big E can maybe have like a good 120 or even a 3 to 4 month title reign.
Okay, right there, I want to say you are absolutely fucking bananas. At SummerSlam, the Fiend is going to have the belt, and the Fiend is going to have a run with the belt until Roman Reigns comes back. I hate to say
the problem. That's the problem.
I mean, come on. The Fiend is my boy. Come on now. Bray Wyatt is a fucking genius when it comes to creativity. They already know that they fucked up when they pulled the belt from him in Saudi Arabia. This is going to reinstate that run that is going to retcon everything that happened. And the Fiend is going to have a fucking run. Let's be real. And if it does come to Big E and the Fiend is going to put Big E in the mandible claw and choke him the fuck out. Let's be real.
Yeah, Ryan, I have to agree. I don't think that that's going to happen because first off, you still got Otis lurking around, and that's a program in itself. But Big E is untested for a singles run. He's always been held and put into this group, and he's been great the whole time. But it's almost like they just been, just sitting on it, just waiting. Now it's time. What can he do? Yeah. So he
was NXT champion. He was the NXT champion.
No, hold on. I gotta cut.
So was
we're talking about Big E. I thought we were talking about Big E's performance on Friday, and all 3 of you motherfuckers just fantasy booked this shit on some just flying off the rails. I'm gonna talk about Big E's appearance on Friday in singles match. I thought it was good. I thought they had a good match. I think that I don't know what's gonna happen here. This is nothing I can really commentate on right now. I hope that maybe this puts them in line for some singles gold. But right now, I just gotta wait and see what they do next week. But I dug Big E's match, so yeah.
It was a good match. I really want to know what you think about what's going to happen in SummerSlam. You think he should get an Intercontinental title shot? Him and AJ, come on, that worked.
Of course it would work.
Where's Matt Riddle? I mean, it's Big E's. Go ahead, Evil Dose.
I mean, I agree with basically what Matty said without all the hyperbole. I think Paynemaker was pulling an Evil Dose and he was fantasy booking. I agree with the sentiment that I would like to see Big E with the big title, but I don't know how you get that to that story. I do know how you get him to the Intercontinental story. Braun and the Fiend, those are the big guys. That's the thing they're working with now. Now, if you want fantasy book just a little, there is a draft coming up in the fall, and maybe if Big E goes to Raw, I could see an easier path to the Raw title than to the SmackDown one. But I agree with the sentiment. I just don't know how you get there.
Bill, before you take this over, there's one thing I want to add. This is WWE we're talking about, guys. If Dolph Ziggler can walk onto Raw and ask for a title shot from Drew McIntyre without any story building there, or even when you ready to have MVP make himself United States champion without a story going there, I can see a story with Big E going for that title. I'm just saying that with that belt on Big E, even this is fantasy booking, we can take the creativity of Bray and Braun and have them go a good, solid feud. Because, as I said, that belt is looking like a third wheel. Now, you don't have the title needs to be elevated as a result of the brand. And yes, if the thing gets it, yeah, he's going to have a dominant run. Problem is, if Reigns doesn't come back, who the hell are you going to book to take that belt off him? That's what I'm saying. You just give Fiend until next year to go for that belt. Then he will not only have the fanfare behind him, he will have the dominant run at the start of the year. And
that's for that match and lost. That the pop-up stories lead to a loss. So they don't lead to a win. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Well, no, I get it. Yeah.
But I like the Intercontinental run because he could go next week. He could go up against Matt Riddle. They could have, a 25-minute banger. Just let him have at it. Have Big E, hit him with the big ending. 1, 2, 3. Have AJ Styles come out, attack him. Boom. There you go.
There it is.
Set up for SummerSlam.
What's next? What's the next topic?
Next topic is Gable possible heel turn and taking up the King's bounty.
I'm sorry, but this is not a topic. I'm not talking about this shit at all. Why would you guys think that?
Just the same shit.
Yeah, I was just trying to cherry pick SmackDown. I thought it was pretty interesting that they're trying to shed the Shorty G aspect and the fact King Corbin called him Gable. Like I really like the whole fact that they're trying to go, okay, we went for this kind of pseudo, John Cena aspect and it didn't work. Let's just move him on. That's all I really cared about.
I mean, we'll see. I'm not that interested. Just because it's just kind of nothing bad. I'm not hating on it. It's too. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, then it could lead to Gable and Riddle, though.
That's a great match. I mean, I'd see that on
a 5-star match. Like that could straight up be a 5-star match if they gave them the time and let them put in the work.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah, something had to change with Gable and Shorty G. Why not this?
There you go. That's all I really cared about. All right, Paynemaker, you got something you want to drop?
No, I agree with everyone here. There's not much to talk on here. I mean, to be honest, Gable, I always believe Gable. He just needs that solid push to give him at that level, but he's never going to get there. So maybe just dropping the Shorty G gimmick will help.
Well, and I have a theory that we'll get to a little later. Next up was Nikki Cross. Do you think she had a heel turn?
No.
Or do you think they're ending? Or do you think? Oh, wait. Does this make Gable a jester to King Corbin? Very good. Very much good.
Maybe.
I like the way the match ended because it kind of shows that Nikki Cross is not this lower card kind of gimmick act. She's actually putting the work in, and she's having trouble keeping up.
I don't know if it's keeping up. It's just that with Bayley having this dominant run, they're booking her. It seems that Nikki Cross is literally the only person on the SmackDown Women's roster who they can have go up against her and actually, get in her head. I don't think this is going to be a heel turn for Nikki. I think that we're going to get slight signs of the Nikki Cross from NXT, where everyone's going to say she's crazy and she's manic. No, this is just going to be a very, very intense Nikki Cross. But right now, she's still – it's just more of like she's frustrated because she's challenged Bayley 3-4 times now, and she's lost. And even her and Alexa has challenged for the tag belts, and they've lost. This is just getting to the point where Nikki's reached – she's close. She's getting close to that edge. We just don't know what's going to cause it this time. And I can't wait for this SmackDown to see what happens, how Nikki's going to react with what we're going to talk about later.
No, actually, we're going to talk about right now. You mean the
talk about it.
Alexa Bliss and the Fiend? No, I actually have a picture I want to pull up. This is probably the best image I found of this. Alexa Bliss played this off beautifully. She looked fucking freaked out. She looked like the character in the horror movie that is scared stiff.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't pull that sobby shit in the corner like the Monday Night Messiah did. She sat there, and that whole thing of when the Fiend brought the mandible claw at her. If you actually listen closely and look at her, she's mouthing no, and the terror, and then he snapped her. I love this whole. This could be. I said this in our chat. Could this be Alexa's heel turn? Because if you look at it, when the Fiend hit Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan with the same mandible claw, they reverted back to their old ways. Do you think this could maybe help where it gets that old fiery Alexa Bliss out, where she can use those heel tactics to maybe pull that belt off of Bayley?
I want to go first. I don't think so, but here's why. Because they've proven that there's people who can go beyond that. Daniel Bryan turned back to the good side. Braun Strowman got that mandible claw the same, and he never changed.
Yet.
Right, yet. But I don't necessarily think it's like going to be considered a heel turn. I do want to point out that I don't even know, someone on one of the news sites, YouTube channels, they pointed out too that Alexa Bliss is wearing a spiked shirt. That little doll that was made, that Fiend doll.
I posted that in our chat. Let me see if I can find that image.
Yeah, that they were also wearing a polka dot or a spiked jacket, so it was supposed to already be like symbolism.
Hold on, let me see.
It was just a black and white polka dot sweater, like a little girl sweater. But
no, I know.
They look similar, though. I mean, it could be a coincidence, but with Bray Wyatt, it's like, is it though?
I mean,
I agree with Matt. I think the thing was expertly executed. I thought Alexa did a great job with it. She was so in fear that the sounds barely came out of her mouth, and you barely heard one that came sort of out of the esophagus, not out of the mouth. I thought it was perfect. And I don't know if Nikki Cross is turning heel or if Alexa is being turned into Sister Abigail. I don't know if that sequence from the swamp match with Alexa was just a head game or was a precursor. But what I like about the whole thing is that I don't know what's going to happen, but I want to find out. And it's not that complicated a story, and that's all wrestling needs to do. And that's what AEW has been doing for the better part of a year, and what WWE has not done. WWE has pulled the Dolph Ziggler shows up and says, I demand a title match. Okay, you get a title match. In AEW, you got 4 or 5 people trying to go for a title. So there were some cliffhangers. There are some questions here that want to be answered. And is Nikki the heel? Is she Sister Abigail? Was that a swerve? Is Alexa a heel? Is she Sister Abigail? Is it just not related? Where's Braun? Is he dead? Is he turning also? Are they all going to be part of the Fiend's menagerie of evil? So, in a sea of mostly mediocrity to bad with WWE, that's a glimmer of storytelling. And right now, I'm okay with the reset. And we'll get to Raw, but I saw glimmers in a pretty bad show of Raw, but I saw glimmers of stories starting, maybe, I hope. But yeah, I thought it was great. I don't know what's going to happen, but I want to know what's going to happen. That's the good part.
Yeah, this was
I agree.
To me, this was a pretty cool.
Oh no, I was just gonna say this is the image we were talking about.
Well, look, here's what I want to say. When it comes with this image, I think that little image of the doll and that little Alexa Bliss little teaser, that little tease Easter egg we got with the swamp swamp match. I doubt we're gonna see Alexa. I mean, WWE may be at times clever, but they're not going to be this on point. This is just going to be. I saw the work, guys. Let me finish for a second before you tear me down. Look, I'm just saying that this is just going to be another instance where WWE is going to try to make their classic swerve once again to where the Fiend was only going after Alexa to get to Braun because of Braun and Alexa's history in the Mixed Match Challenge. Unfortunately, I don't think this is going to lead to anything big for Alexa. This is just going to be another instance where Alexa is caught in the middle between the Bray and Braun feud. And once again, this is just another slow reemergence of the Fiend. I mean, I will not be surprised if this Friday we see the Fiend go after Nikki Cross or stalks Nikki Cross for all I know. Okay, now you guys give me a new one.
No, I'm not gonna contradict anybody talking because I got my own point of views. I thought this was really cool. SmackDown ending with a women's match, and then the lights go out. Alexa Bliss, her partner just shoved her after a hellacious match. And then you got the Fiend in the ring. The crowd was, that was the only disappointing part. We didn't really get too much from the crowd, because they actually have people there. Yeah, he stuck the mandible claw on her. I think that everybody has to fantasy book a little bit here, to figure out where this is going to go. I'm excited for this, because I don't expect her to be on, SmackDown this Friday. If you get the mandible claw, from a man when you're a little woman, I expect her to be out for a little bit. I expect this is when, we see maybe reemergence from Braun. I don't expect them to be on the show. They should just have them just cut a little video or something. Mm-hmm. And then, maybe she's not on the show for a couple weeks. Well, I mean, we got SummerSlam so fucking close now. Like, this is fucking ridiculous, man, to try to book all this shit. Wonder why they suck. With SummerSlam being so close, it's like Braun's probably going to see her somewhere. And if they edit it right, which they should, when he touches her on the shoulder, they should show us, her getting, the mandible claw by the Fiend, and she has that PTSD, and they could go right with this if they, stop being lazy. But right now, I thought that was a cool ending, because we don't really see that on WWE where a man gets physical with a woman, So that's a little different than what we're used to right now. So I'm intrigued. I'm really intrigued. So I can't wait to see what happens this Friday.
Yeah. One quick thing before we jump to another programming. Mandy and Sonya got into it this week. I'm curious about this because it was reported that they're going to have a hair versus hair match from Fightful Select, which I'm okay with. Somebody needs a new costume change, so that that's normally what they do that for. It was an interesting.
Both of them are fire with their long hair, though. I mean, Jesus. I mean, to see Mandy without her long locks, that's going to be a hard thing to swallow, pun intended. And with
you won't.
Her whole thing was, before she started getting intense with, they always kept saying, "Put your hair up and square up." So it's going to be weird when the hair is cut. I mean, it's going to happen. We can't avoid that. I guess it's going to be for this hair versus hair match. Are they going to actually get their heads shaved, or they're going to find a loophole and just cut it to where it's kind of short, where it's kind of short like Bailey's, or to where they got like the little pixie cut. But unfortunately, WWE, it says hair versus hair. We're all assuming this could be, they lose their head entirely. But nowadays, WWE has been able to find ways of booking themselves out of an unbookable match or a no-win situation. But I do want to say, Mandy and Sonya, they have been fantastic. Sonya has given us a great. I love the intensity of Sonya. I mean, I wish we had this of hers, like when she debuted along with Mandy and Paige. But of course, after Paige retired, they were just thrown in the shuffle. But I wanted that side of Sonya to show up, and I'm glad it's happening now. So hopefully, after this, we'll get an even meaner Sonya.
I think you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think you'll get like an Aeon Flux kind of punk haircut. coming out of it, and she'll look even more badass. But what I want to talk about this though, there were those 2 or 3 screen glitches, and the hacker was supposed to be Ali maybe, and he moved to Raw, so we all thought the hacker line was dropped, and then on Raw we saw the disturbance, which might have been underground, it might have been retribution. We don't know. I don't know if these glitches were tied in to one another. I don't know if the hacker story is still alive, but that was interesting, and that's another little cliffhanger where I want to find out what the answer is. So there were really maybe 2 stories in one. Whether they're woven together, I don't know, but they're just 2 things here. So I rate those as 2 more successes with maybe turning the corner and doing wrestling stories again with cliffhangers.
Well, I'm glad you said that the way you did. I'm kind of glad you said that the way you did, because it'll just let us segment right into Raw. Retribution. Hear me out. This new stable, we really don't know what they are or who they are. They all kind of look like the hacker, with the hoods up and everything. What if what they're doing is they're continuing the hacker story, but they're moving it to Raw? Like they're, for lack of better terms, Watchmen or people that have different characteristics. We have the hacker, we've got the muscle, the woman, what have you, and they're all across multiple brands, because I don't want it to see it just be like Undisputed Era. I don't want to see that. That's a hard pass for me. If they're going to develop a new stable, let's make it like the Hurt, like the Hurt Business, what have you.
Well, there's 2 scenarios I see, and one is sort of a joke and one is sort of serious. Here's the joke first. Retribution is people from USA Universal and who are unhappy with the ratings, and they're going to burn the thing down for arson and insurance money. Number
Perfect.
2 is that.
Stop right there. You won.
Thank you.
You don't even the second point.
Yeah. I should take yes for an answer and just move along, but I have to because the audience demands it. The other possibility, well, there's others, but my other possibility is that WWE successfully kept secrets for the first time in their lives and actually re-signed some of the released people, and that's retribution. It's sort of like a little insurgency with, I don't know, pick any 4 or 5 guys or gals you like who are re-signed, who you haven't heard from, who didn't sign with another company, Rowan, No Way Jose, whatever. Pick your poison. But I could see like maybe Bo Dallas being the leader or something like that. But that was my own thought.
Trash. This whole shit is trash with a capital fucking T. Man, it don't make no sense. These motherfuckers, right? When you watch WWE since a kid, you watch fucking the first WrestleMania live, this shit is straight, this trash, because they tell you, oh, a new stable is coming to WWE. They should have some fucking sitcom music with this shit on the back. And then it's like, then you just see a little video of some motherfuckers in hoods. They throw a little fire and shit. And it's like, ooh, the suspense is boiling. And then it's like, you don't hear shit until they say, oh, the name of this group is Retribution. Who gives a fuck? Like, I'm sorry, I'm not fucking 10 years old. This shit has no fucking appeal to me. Like, okay, how the fuck did y'all come about the name? We're never gonna, it's just there now. Just WWE magically knows the fucking name of this group. We didn't really see them this week. Oh man, tune in to next Monday night. We might know who they are. Like, this shit is just sad, bro. Like,
it's lazy.
I don't give a, like, there is nobody out there that they're gonna bring in. There's not going to be any independent wrestlers that are out there that they're gonna bring in like AEW does or Impact or Impact. I don't know if they hired anybody new yet outside of WWE talent. That's neither here or there. So one, we're not gonna get somebody new we've never seen before. 2, if it's somebody from NXT, so 5 people from NXT are just going to join together in a fucking week and go to WWE to unite on Raw and do what? what? We don't have that chemistry in NXT. Everybody's about their business. It's usually they're alone. They're not interacting all the time. So it's not like we're going to see 5 guys from NXT and be like, oh, we come into Raw because what? The fuck y'all coming to Raw for? Y'all can do that singly. And if it's somebody that they fired and hired again, it's like, who's going to be the leader? It's got to be, are they going to be a main eventer? Or are they going to be a fucking jobber? Like, I don't see appeal for this at all. You know, that's just my opinion, you know, but this shit was a dud for me. I don't give a fuck who they bring in, man, unless it's like Nick Aldis, unless that's some crazy shit. But I don't see them hiring outside the company, and everybody else is going to be a fucking letdown.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I agree with everything you said, man. I think this is trash. However, I'm intrigued by the idea that somebody, like you said, Dose, like, I'm intrigued with that idea. And Villain says, you know, who would be the leader? But like I said, I also agree with Villain. It's hot trash with a capital T. So who could be the leader? In my opinion, only one person could be the leader to make it even okay. And that's taking Evil Dose's idea of having, you know, like a bunch of fired guys that got hired back, and then having their leader be, I know this is a stretch, but CM Punk.
Oh,
that would be
that or Roman Reigns. That or Roman Reigns would justify it, brother. I agree with you.
I would love it if it was Roman Reigns. That would be dope. Oh yeah, man.
That is a long shot, but
Sami Zayn makes sense too.
If they sell that right, if they sell that right, I can see that. But you just say it is a long shot. I mean, look, I'm intrigued on, like Villain off of what D3 said with the whole Villain idea. Yeah, this is really terrible. But the idea of, if this is going to be a group, who is their leader? Who's in charge? And it has to be someone we need to take seriously. You can't just pick some random guy or somebody from the Raw roster who's constantly gotten their ass kicked. Oh, he's never coming back, Jacob. I swear to God. He's made that plain here. But are they just the Raw roster? Because let's be honest, if we see this stuff happen later this week on SmackDown, it can be clear that Retribution can maybe be like an all branch, and like it could be on both branches. I mean, it could be a combination of both Raw, SmackDown guys, or like what you guys have been saying, people who were fired before, meaning they have no ties to either brand, meaning they can jump back and forth between Raw and SmackDown and cause havoc. I mean, that's one thing I can see with this whole Retribution stable. It has to be with guys who are not wrestlers on Raw and SmackDown. It could be like a Nexus situation. They have no loyalty to the main brands. They only have loyalty to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all right, I'm going to use that right there to segue into another bit, because I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna double back to the stable. So just let's talk about Raw Underground a little bit.
Please, let's not.
Hold on. Before you say anything, hear me out. We saw first we saw Shane McMahon. Then we saw that big ass guy from the new Miz movie. Then we saw the Viking Raiders. Then Ziggler. And then we saw Theo Madden. What if that's your new stable? That Shane McMahon has gone through and recruited guys who have been knocked out. Look at the Viking Raiders when they first came up whether they were coming over from WCPW or even NXT, and they were still officially the War Raiders, or War Machine. Oh well, they were first the War Raiders, and then they became the War Machine.
NXT, they were War Machine, but I know what you mean.
And then
I'm sorry, Matty G. Matty G, what's the first rule of Fight Club?
Exactly.
Yeah, so fuck Shane.
What did Shane do? What is Shane do?
What if it's Shane McMahon going and getting guys who have been, thrown down, like the Viking Raiders? They were straight up these brawling beasts, sons of bitches, and then that big ass black dude, like Haven was talking about, that dude fucking choked somebody out in like 2 seconds. Ziggler, and you know what? Like I said in our chat, we need every group needs an X-Pac. Somebody to take the ball.
I'll say this: at least they put over his wrestling credentials on commentary.
They did.
So that's
what if Samoa Joe? What if Samoa Joe actually gets involved with that? Because he was selling it.
Brock Lesnar.
Why the fuck not? Exactly. First rule of Raw Underground is you don't talk about Raw Underground.
I feel okay with that rule.
Yeah. Don't forget to look at the sexy ladies, guys.
Yeah. I hear everything you said. I don't think it's going to be that clever. I felt like this whole episode was sort of like when you see a trailer to a movie and there's all the good parts. And I think that there were like 5 or 6 good parts, like the trailer of a movie. And I mean Raw generally, but I think the movie sucked. This underground thing, it could have worked. It didn't quite hit it for me. Ziggler sort of ruined it. He's sort of like the TNA of WWE to me. But I will say this.
Damn.
I liked that there was a different set. I liked that there was a different visual. The color scheme was all different. I wish they would have had like 3 or 4 songs, not the same song over and over again. But this is one thing that I could see it doing that might help something else that's really jumped the shark quickly. Like if that 24/7 title is lost in the underground and it's not treated like a joke anymore, it morphs sort of into a hardcore title, that could save that stupid 24/7 ass title and become sort of like the underground title. And you could have sort of like badasses like Lashley and Shelton Benjamin who are legit tough guys, wrestlers. Gable, it gives Aleister Black somewhere to go. Maybe Matt Riddle if they don't want to elevate him quickly enough. I'm not saying all this is going to happen. Brock Lesnar ain't never doing that. But there's potential with it. I didn't like the execution. I didn't like Shane. Shane isn't the edgy middle-aged guy. Shane is the coolest dad you know. That's for sure. He's the coolest. He's the guy that when you go to the strip club, you go to the best strip club, he's getting a limo, he's getting you the table service, and everyone's getting lap dances, and you want to be with that guy. But he's not the gritty guy. He's not the gritty underground. He's not the guy with connects. And that's who he was trying to be. He was trying to be like the guy who knows the mob club. No, Shane's the guy who pays the manager at Larry Flint's Hustler Club. Big deal. So, no. The dirt wasn't there for me. If it's going to be underground, it needs dirty. It needs Dario Cueto and scotch and cocaine. It doesn't need me having my second childhood as a middle-aged man.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Can.
Yo, can you hear me?
Hell yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This was
I love it.
This was something that was like, I don't know, like, yeah, they had a new set, so they spent money on the set. To me, the execution was poorly executed. You had people outside the ring hesitating. Like they finally come in the ring. Everything lasted like not even 10 seconds. You know, throw them out. Then you come back and, like I said, Shane McMahon was there, and you know so he just comes back to Raw, and this is what he wants to do. It just all right. So he had the big dude from the Netflix film. Miz was in the Miz movie. He was just in it, but it was about a kid. I forget what the fucking movie is called now. I should have looked it up.
The main event.
Yeah, so that's where this. Yeah, that's where this big dude is from. I don't know if he could talk or not, you know, so we have to wait and see on that part. The whole ending with the Hurt Locker or the Hurt Crew, whatever the hell they call themselves, Hurt Business. If they coming in and they took over, that don't make no sense because it's like Shane started this, and you're gonna take something from Shane, so. Next week it's gonna have to be like some super explosion between Shane and these guys. So I don't know, man. It's just a lot of shit that was going on there. Where it's like, I don't, you know, There's just so much stuff going on to digest. Like, I wouldn't want to go there next week. Like, if I was in the crowd, you got the Hurt Business coming off the fucking stage, beating the shit out of me while I'm just trying to enjoy myself, maybe holler at one of the dancers. Now I'm in the fucking hospital. Who the fuck's going to show up next week to be there? Like, seriously, I'm not going to go in the crowd next week. Like, come on, man. That shit's just ridiculous.
Unless you have health insurance.
That's all I got to say about this shit.
Unless you're willing to pay for my health insurance, my hospital bills, if the Hurt Business are going to show up, that's the only way they're going to get people to come back.
All right, guys.
The program was ridiculous. I was not buying it at all. Shane looked like he was a car salesman. Shane was coming off as a car salesman. Sounds like I'm saying Carl.
Sunday. Come to the Las Vegas.
Sorry. He was like a car salesman. He was trying to sell you everything that was on the freaking lot, even though nothing was running or a part was missing. You're showing me these big fights, but guess what? Everything's mismatched. Except for the Viking Raiders, that was the only fight I could believe. But when you bring in Dolph Ziggler, yes, you bring up his amateur wrestling background. But after you have the Viking Raiders of Eric, like, knock a dude out, then all of a sudden later on you bring in Dolph Ziggler, and then the Hurt Business shows up, which wants to lead me to MVP, for Christ's sake. Can we just have him be one and done? I didn't like this continuing story thread of him being brought back on and on and off and on and off again. I like MVP, but he's better in small doses. Don't weave him out through a whole night.
And that Lashley punch was fake as hell too.
It looked.
Oh my god, your angle was stupid. You clearly saw he punched the dude in the shoulder, not the face.
Yeah, either his shoulder or like the big patch of air that was next to his face.
Yeah,
you know, I'm gonna bring up a name we don't really talk about, but Jim Cornette even pointed that out. He's like, I've thrown better punches than that, and it's like,
at the Wendy's drive-thru, that's where he's throwing better punches at the Wendy's drive-thru.
All right, so one last thing I want to talk about: Montez Ford and Dawkins were taking on Angel Garza and Andrade. Sorry, I was trying to keep up and read at the same time. And Andrade, and as Montez Ford's standing ringside, he falls during. He just like plumb falls to his ass, eyes roll in the back of his head. And then all of a sudden, the camera pans to it. His boy gets 1, 2, 3. He comes to, he jumps in the ring, and then he starts pulling this straight up Ultimate Warrior kind of macho man, grab that ring, and then he's out.
Mm-hmm.
The matches themselves were okay, but it's the promo after that I really want to point on. Bianca Belair, who I think needs to get more fucking screen time. That woman is a beast in the ring. She is a goddess on the mic. Comes out, and you can genuinely see she is upset. Yes, that is her husband. And I
love documentaries where they, where you have like animals in the background. It's like, and now at this point, you see the lion. It is slowly crawling towards its prey. You can do the same thing with Bianca as she's approaching. It's at this point where you see Bianca remove her earrings. It should be known that Selena should have seen this coming. But you can also tell with the hesitance in Andrade and Angel how they knew she fucked up.
What's funny is I was watching Raw with my kid, and I look at him and say, I was like, Selena Vega's about to get his ass whooped. And Kale looked at me a little worried. He's like, how do you know that? I went, because with women, when they take their earrings off, especially black women, Hispanic women, somebody about to catch an ass whooping.
Look, that Family Guy joke said it all. The moment the black woman removes her mini ring, shit's about to go down.
So what did y'all think of this angle sort of thing?
Poison was stupid.
Trash.
I will just say this. At least there's a story. At least we don't know exactly who did it. At least I want to know who found out. But I very much feel like this is going to show my age. But there was a season of Dallas, which was a nighttime soap, and Bobby Ewing died one season. There was a contract problem. He didn't go on the season premiere of the next season. Pam Ewing goes in the shower, and Bobby's taking a shower. The whole season was a dream. I feel like this episode of Raw was that. This was the Bobby Ewing Dallas premiere. So it was a hard reset. They're starting new stories, but they have the same cast, and some of the same stories are continuing. So I'm sort of going to give this episode a little bit of a pass. I didn't think anything was great, but I guess I'm being an optimist here. But at least there was a story. At least there's a mystery, and let's see where it goes. Bianca got on screen. Shayna got on screen. They got her away from Nia. They got her back with looking at Asuka, but Asuka's going to fight someone else first. There's the intergender thing, which accidentally or otherwise is the hot topic of the last couple of days, thanks to Simone Johnson and Kaylee Ray and Lance Storm and everyone else jumping in on it. So, yes, it was trash, but maybe they can turn that trash into something salvageable.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Bruce
in the crowd agrees.
I was going to say just one quick thing. All I'll say is this, and it came off of like something. They had an opportunity to just focus on the tag team and the fact that Dawkins and Montez Ford are a better tag team, and that Angel Garza and Andrade are better singles. So they could have won their singles matches and then lost the tag team match. It shows, what tag team is all about. But I digress. That's all I wanted to say. They didn't do that. Montez Ford got poisoned.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, JB3 watches Wrestle Talk. Just pointing that out.
Yeah, I do watch Wrestle Talk. Yeah, and that was
because that is word for word what they said. But I digress. Well, let's jump in. Since you brought up tag team wrestling, brother, the floor is yours. Let's talk about tag divisions: AEW, WWE, and NXT. Brother, the floor is yours.
All right, so when it comes to tag team wrestling, look. You got two different shows here. You have AEW and you have NXT, and they're doing it in two separate ways. When I say NXT, I'm really talking about WWE because NXT a couple years ago had one of the hottest tag team before AEW came out, had the hottest tag team division out. But
facts.
Yeah, right. But now here's the thing that's bothering me. Okay, first off, AEW, I'll just slightly put them over and say, look, tag team appreciation next week. FTR doing the contracts and saying we need tag ropes. We want to follow certain rules. Certain things that are happening with the tag team wrestling in AEW. Everyone loves tag team wrestling in AEW. It's probably one of their strongest points, if not their strongest point. But when it comes to NXT and it comes to what happened on Wednesday, I'm gonna bring to you something I'm gonna call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay? Oh gosh. The good, the bad, and the ugly. First off, the bad. Okay, the bad is, you got like AEW doing this tag team thing, right? So now NXT's fallen into the WWE train where they sacrifice their tag team division to put over a different type of story. So you got NXT, and I know this is what happened at the end of the show, but what happened was they sacrificed their tag team division because, let's face it, Imperium, when they won the belts, they disappeared. They weren't there, and I get it, COVID, stuff happens, but you're trying to tell a story here. All of a sudden they come in, and they defend the titles, and the whole time being distracted by a whole nother story. WWE did that with Braun Strowman defeating and burying their whole tag team division. They always bury their tag team division to try to tell another story that they think is bigger than a tag team championship match. So, it bothered me that's the bad.
Testify.
Actually, I'm sorry.
You don't think
ugly. That's
wait
the
a minute.
ugly.
You don't think? Hold up. You don't think Braun Strowman and Nicholas is a good tag team?
No, I don't. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, Nicholas could be great in 10 years, maybe. We'll see. If he
Sorry,
wants to.
I just had to interject that real quick.
No, but actually, that's the ugly. I gotta say, that's not even the bad. That's the ugly. You know, you're gonna sit there and you're burying your tag team, your whole tag division. You want to know what the bad is? The bad is Pat McAfee. You're trying to put a star. Adam Cole's gonna be a champion. He's gonna go, not even a star, like kind of a star. He was a star, you know, and he's not really, you know, for whatever story they're telling or whatever. It's not necessarily he's doing his job. Yeah, you know, people hate him and you know whatever. I didn't hate the whole story that happened, but you put that in front of your tag team division when tag team wrestling is being a centerpiece on the other show. Like they're doing it wrong. But I'll say this, yeah, for real. I will say this though, with the ugly and the burial of the tag team division and with the bad of the Pat McAfee, there is one good that happened with the NXT. And it's the only good thing that they did with this show. And what they did and what they managed to do was turn the Undisputed Era face. You could see it from when they came out and the NXT fake WWE, let's be whatever WWE wants us to be crowd cheered them. And then, you know, and then after the whole thing, everyone wants Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era and Triple H and Shawn Michaels to whoop his ass. So if their goal was, hey, let's turn the Undisputed Era face, goal accomplished. That's a good thing. So that anybody else would comment? I'm done. That was what I wanted to say about it.
I want to bring up something. You brought up tag team wrestling. AEW, their tag team divisions are, yes, you know, they follow New Japan, you know, they follow rules like that where you got 20 seconds, you know, you got your 20 seconds in and out. You don't have to hold the tag ropes. You hear this, everybody just fights. But their 12-man match was actually better than the 6-man. It made more sense. Everybody got their time, and it just didn't look like a giant clusterfuck. And it made Hangman Page look like a total boss. And Dark Order got the win. I mean, in my opinion, I like the fact that the Dark Order is getting a push. Like in both tag matches they were in, one in a win and the other in a loss. They all look great.
Yeah. Yeah, the AEW's tag team division is fire. It's fire. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to build off of what you were talking about, the tag team divisions. Yeah. There's clearly it's without a shadow of a doubt between both AEW and WWE NXT. There is a difference. AEW has said from the start, one of their mission statements was to put an emphasis on tag team wrestling. While it may take up 60% of the show, but one thing for sure is when you get tag team wrestling, they're going to give you tag team wrestling in all different varieties. You'll get either a spot fest tag match or you will get a technical team. They always try to give you certain varieties. They'll give you high flyers. They'll give you spot fest. They'll give you technical wrestling. They'll give you heels who do the number game. They'll give you comedy wrestlers. They're trying to entertain you by giving you a different kind of tag team that you didn't think you'd want in a match. While with WWE, on like every once in a blue moon, they'll put the right focus on their tag team division. But it was clear after what happened when the Hardys returned, when the Raw Tag Team Championships were really at a certain high point, with the New Day holding them for the longest reign, then giving it to Cesaro. Then you had Carl and Anderson. Then you were like at the time when Enzo and Cass were hot, the Hardys returning. The Raw Tag Team Championships were a hot commodity. And then you do the same thing. And then, of course, with the bar setting the standards. The moment Braun Strowman and a 10-year-old kid won those belts, it was swept right back under the rug. We thought we'd get some brilliant moments of brilliance again, but it was gone. And even with the New Day, their great back-and-forth feud with the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. It's clear WWE, they like to push feuds. They're not interested in a belt. If a belt is a part of a feud, then it works.
Testify.
One thing NXT,
Nobody's bagging you. I mean, in our private chat, I may have made a joke about, did you just bring up Enzo and Cass?
Yes, I did, because it ties into NXT. What NXT did with their teams, they made their teams, regardless if they had belts or if they were contenders or not, they were a hot commodity, just like Enzo and Cass. Regardless of what your personal feelings are about these two men individually, when they made their debut on Raw, that crowd was 100% behind them. They love these guys. And that was the thing. Even in NXT, they were never considered title contenders. They were a hot commodity, and it was wasted because WWE wanted to push a feud. With NXT, I loved even the NXT tag divisions when they had out there with Sanity, Undisputed Era, Authors of Pain, TM61, the Dusty Rhodes Classic. The fact that Dusty Rhodes Classic itself, it went from being a semi-main event like King of the Ring to now just a 3-night event, to where not even random tag teams, or even, oh God, it's just so frustrating because we saw the formation of DIY from the first Dusty Rhodes Classic, how Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano debuted, pushed together as a team. They gelled well. They gave us great instant classics against the now FTR. Now, that was the thing with tag teams that NXT did. Rather, if it was two singles wrestlers or an established team, they made sure they had the right amount of time and the right amount of focus. And that's one thing I'm loving with AEW. Despite your teams are not certain teams you want or not getting, but you're not, they're getting the spotlight. And WWE is constantly losing that. They're losing that focus. Sure, you want to focus on the brand above all. But don't forget, you need wrestlers, you need stars to be a part of that brand. And if it's just brand above all, then why am I interested in wanting to get behind a wrestler?
Evil dose.
What is left to say about WWE tag team wrestling that you guys haven't said? I mean, you're right on every count. They have the biggest roster in the history of wrestling under one roof. And it's not that they can't. They don't want to put together a viable tag team division in any show on any brand. You can say the Usos are injured. You can say that Razor got injured. You can say this. You can say it doesn't matter. They have enough people to put tag teams together. And even when they do something that could be good, when they've got this rivalry between the Street Profits, a little bit with the Vikings, as goofy as it was, at least there was a little chemistry, but also with Garza and Andrade, instantly they pull like the new NWA and they're teasing dissension between Garza and Andrade. Why? Make them a centerpiece. They could be a great tag team for a year and a half, and then there's the dissension. So they don't want to do it. I don't know why. I mean, there are tag teams that become stars forever, like the Rock and Roll Express and the Road Warriors. And then there are tag teams that give you stars like Shawn Michaels and the British Bulldog. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm blanking out right now. But there's so many. The Scott Steiner came, out of it, Booker T. So tag teams are a vessel to create stars in and of themselves. If you have 4 or 5 tag teams per show vying for a tag team title, the titles all of a sudden get more important, and you have 8 to 10 to 12 people with something to do that matters every week. It's not that hard, and they're making it hard, and it's frustrating.
Fine.
And that's it. The rant endeth.
Exactly. And it's funny. This is the one thing that we are all on the same page about. Like, usually, we kind of nitpick. Like, at the beginning, JB3 and I both ripped, PAYNEMAKER a little bit because, you know what? That's wrestling. But it's got to say something. We all come from different backgrounds, different lives, different points of view. But we all see the same thing.
Well, I didn't talk my shit yet, so I'm jumping in right now.
You always have shit to say.
Evil Dose tagged me in. This is a great topic. It's just the fact is that WWE's tag team division has been shit. they don't focus on the tag team division, and it sucks because NXT on the network was doing the best tag team wrestling in any WWE product or arguably in the world. But now that they're on a network, they're gonna have to start, looking at numbers and shit, and they're panicking, and that's why they're not getting love no more. It's turning in straight into a Raw, SmackDown tag team style division where it's just bland as shit, and it's just nobody's putting any effort into it, and that's the truth. Ever since they got on, they're worried about AEW, and they're lacking. Instead of going hard with the tag team division, they really cut it back. Maybe Corona, but I don't give a fuck. They're a fucking multi-million-dollar company. Vince has the money; he can fly people in. So AEW is still banging with tag teams. Even Impact Wrestling is doing banging with tag teams. So I don't want to hear no excuse of, because NXT's failing because they went on a television station and now they have to battle AEW, for control. And that's why the tag team division is floundering and it looks just like another WWE fucking product when it comes to tag team division. I said my piece.
I have a question for everybody. Hold on. I have a question for everybody. Where do they film, NXT? Well, NXT is at Full Sail. But WWE shows, where do they film that again? Can somebody remind me of that? The Performance Center. Holy fuck. You could put a couple of guys together and have them practice. Holy fuck. Cesaro and Shinsuke, they didn't start out as bomb as they are now. They had to work.
That's different. You can't compare. No. So you can't come up here and start talking bullshit because Cesaro is class act and Nakamura is legend. He's legend status. What I'm getting at, hold on. What I'm getting at is the fact that they had to work behind the scenes to get used to flowing together, because that match that they had at Extreme Rules was phenomenal with the New Day. What I'm saying is they could put people together and go, okay, these two work together, that's good. These group of people work together, and just have them get that chemistry. And there's your tag. Look at AEW. Their champs had only wrestled once as a tag team in a different division, before they paired together. And they're the reigning champs. Right.
There's one thing I forgot to talk about when it came with NXT and their tag division.
Not surprising. Go ahead.
NXT UK also had solid tag team divisions, because when I watched I went back on my WWE network and I looked at NXT UK Takeover. Either it was Liverpool or when they were in Wales, and the match, the Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Gallus. Oh no! The young grizzled veterans. That was a solid tag match. As you see, it was two. Once again, it shows up that NXT, the brand itself, when it is not on television, when it is on the network, when it's doing it on their own pace, they'll give us great matches, great characters, great wrestlers to flow behind. Because the team of Morgan Webster and Andrews, if they were on the main roster, like we saw during the time when we had crowds, they would have been they were destroyed by guys like the Viking Raiders. But when they're on the network and they go against Young Grizzled Veterans or Gallus, those two are seen as not only the hardest, but the wrestlers with the most heart to become the NXT UK tag champs. And it's why this whole thing with Imperium, who have been dominating, are now being seen as just like they're a stopgap. They're holding the titles for the next team, and I don't like that.
I'm just going to jump in and say that we can't talk about the UK because it sucks the situation, because they were great too. Nobody's denying UK stuff. The NXT put out UK was great. You got the network, you watched that shit, you witnessed it. That was great stuff, man. It just sucks that it's not on right now. So, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, Ryan's right. There's a pattern. If they booked their TV show like they did, like it was on the network, they would have more success, because there's a pattern.
I said that shit first. What are you talking about, Ryan?
Well, I mean, I agree with that too. He just said it.
I was fucking with you guys.
All right, guys.
With me, you already know.
All right, since we're talking AEW, there was a promo on Dark. This promo has to be one of my favorite promos of the week. It's not my favorite that we'll talk about in a little bit, but Scorpio Sky lays out the guy. He has now gone over 200 wins or 20 wins. I'm sorry, 200. 20 wins and 16 single wins total. And he puts a chair out and he goes, I'm not going to be just the king of dark. I'm not going to be looked down upon. This is my time. And then at the end of the bullshit Cody match, I don't really care about it. It made Dark Order more over than anything. Matt Cordova basically is using the same moveset that he had as Zack Ryder. Even though he is yoked as hell, he could do some pop-up power bombs or something, kind of like the Pentagon Jr. I showed you guys a little while ago. And then he walks out and he points at that title. That's all I got to say. He didn't have to say anything to Cody. He didn't have to. He just pointed at the title like, that shit's mine. I would not be surprised if next week Scorpio Sky walks away with that title.
I would.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think he's winning the title. I mean, we've talked about this before. I think everybody talks about is that, if you don't watch Dark, you are missing things, and you shouldn't have to watch everything to get the summation. One of the things I thought AEW did very well this week was they went straight to a match without the introductions of 12 guys. They could have spared 10 seconds or 15 seconds to show that the promo or just some highlights of Dark. And if they did that, that would make me think that this is more important. I think it's just showcasing the guy on Dynamite. He hasn't been on Dynamite in a million years. He's not winning the title. He got that title shot against Jericho. And I know people love Scorpio Sky, but there was a 3-minute segment when he was fighting Jericho where he froze and he did 5 cutters in a row. Not because he was trying to beat the guy with the cutter. He just forgot what else to do. And, and I don't think anybody's forgotten that. But good, let him get a shot on TV. It's not, on national TV again, because all of SCU has sort of been lost in the shuffle. Because, at some point we should talk about if AEW's gotten bloated, but maybe not this week. But I don't think he's going to – I don't think Scorpio Sky has been built up yet to beat Cody, and Cody's involved in other things with bigger names right now. So I just don't think this is Scorpio Sky's time. But if he has a close win, it could set it up for down the line. AEW is good with a memory. So that's all.
What you just said, like in your front, what you just said, Cody's tied up in bigger things. I think it could be it could be the 5 or 2% chance that Scorpio Sky might actually walk out with that title. Like you said, it could be a close win, but it's those situations with Sky. Look, with SCU, yeah, they got lost in shuffle after they lost their belts. But one thing they did right is that on Dark, they've been telling they're slowly rebooting them again. It's Kazarian and Daniels as a team as Sky decides to go singles. And one thing's for sure, in interviews and in independence on Ring of Honor or whenever you see them like in different wrestling independent scene, Daniels and Kazarian have never been as high on Sky as anybody else. They believe in Sky. So the fact that Sky is actually getting a finalized single run, like a legitimate singles run, tells me that his matches on Dark, that promo he had, him challenging Cody for that title, it's all building up to something. Even if he does not win, this is just to remind the audiences, just like last year, they believed in Sky enough to give Jericho his first pin loss in AEW. So the fact that Sky, even if it's a close one, or he might actually walk away with that TNT championship, I still think that AEW in the back and all the bookers, the guys involved, they're telling people at home, we have not forgotten about Scorpio Sky. We did not forget how we set him up, and we're letting you know this is Scorpio Sky 2.0 now, and this version is going to be better than last year's. like your iPhone.
Two quick rebuttals on that. One, if it was important, they would have showed it on Dynamite, not Dark.
Yeah.
Two, I know that Daniels and Kazarian have been pushing Sky, and yes, I've been watching Ring of Honor for years, and they were doing it for years. Scorpio Sky is about 34 now. I mean, if he was 24, I get it. He's like the Jungle Boy or the MJF or the Darby. He's that young guy we're pushing. He's sort of middle-aged wrestler now. He's not the young guy. He's young in SCU. I mean, those guys are my age. But I don't know. I cannot say that I'm not guaranteeing he's going to lose. There's definitely that 2 or 5% chance he wins and it's a giant upset. I just don't see it. I don't see how that makes the headline now that they're looking for. I think something with Cardona is the headline they're looking for now, or Darby ultimately somehow beats Cody, or something to force Cody to turn heel is the story. I don't know where Scorpio Sky fits in with that.
Well, black don't crack. And 34 for Scorpio Sky is pretty much, he's like 18 now. So, it's just like, I don't get it either. Oh, sorry. I'm grabbing some ice, for my drink. I'm a grown, sexy man. It's like, show a fucking promo. Like, show a fucking promo from what you guys are doing in Dark. A guy shows up that we know who he is, but he shows up on the ramp, looks at the title, maybe touches it. I don't remember if he did or not, and then walks away. And we're supposed to get excited? Like, show the promo. It's like a minute. It's literally like a minute long, maybe a minute 30 if he was talking a lot. But seriously, it's like they should show some stuff, and that's the only thing that to me that's the only thing annoying because there's so much shit going on in AEW. A lot of signees, so now new people are getting fitted into stuff, and other things that should happen are getting pushed back because if Cody loses the belt, let's say if he does lose the belt, what is he going to do for the next year? Because he's not going to get the title because there's other people that we want to have the title. Well, when you only have 2 titles there, 3, I guess, if you're talking about the FTW title, but nobody is. So anyway, it's like, what's the logical sense of what's going to happen here? Because I'm confused. It's just Scorpio Sky is getting all these wins to what? Lose to Cody. Matt, the new dude might come in and maybe he'll get the fucking title. But it's like, seriously? Like, I thought Sean Spears was hired here because the other company shitted on him. Like, I thought he was going to be made. It's like you keep bringing guys in and you only got 2 fucking titles. Where are all these people going to fit? So I don't know what's going to happen.
I have a slight rebuttal. The whole thing with Sky, I understand the promo that Sky did on Dark should have been shown, but all the defenses Cody has done outside of Ricky Starks, who had a promo, every other defense that Cody has had, they've always announced it. Cody's fighting Mark Quinn. Cody is fighting Sonny Kiss. Cody's fighting Jungle Boy. There was never no promo for these other wrestlers. So I understand with Scorpios, I understand there is a complete difference with that with Sky. But at the same time, it doesn't come that much of a shock to me that Sky just walks out and challenges Cody for the belt. Because Cody has always been holding like an open challenge. So not everyone's gonna get that red carpet treatment like Ricky Starks did. But still, Sky could lose.
I'm like, okay, I guess he ain't gonna talk.
I'm not gonna waste time.
We're good.
All right, Sammy and Matt Hardy.
Sammy's in trouble.
Sammy is in trouble. He threw the wrong chair and busted Matt Hardy.
No more. He ain't broken no more. This isn't broken Matt Hardy anymore.
No, this is fucked up, Matt Hardy. So what I was reading, thanks to the Wrestling Observer today, there were 2 chairs out at ringside. The chair spot itself was supposed to happen, but they had a chair out there like Sabu used to use, where it's, basically it's a stunt chair where, makes a thud and looks pretty good. They were both sitting side by side at ringside. In the chaos of the moment, Sammy picked up the wrong chair and threw it at Matt.
Put those 2 next to each other.
at first I thought it was, the way that the blood just kind of went on his head. I thought, he got hit with a chair and popped a blood capsule, and they made it look good. But then I looked closely at that chair, that table. That table had blood pouring on it. And then he sits up and you see this nasty ass gash. My second thought went, holy fuck, did he blade wrong or something? Some people were like, he cut too deep. And then all of a sudden it comes out that he threw the wrong chair, and that when that chair opened up, it caught him across the head. Matt Hardy still took that like a champ.
Will not die. Go ahead.
I don't got much to say except for it was jacked up. Why? Look, okay, I'll say a couple things. First off, Sammy didn't mean to do it, but it was a mistake. But Matt Hardy knows, and either Matt told him to do it or he knew to do it. I'm assuming Matt told him to do it. To go ahead and do the splash through the table, to make it look more brutal. And it did. The visual was obviously there, but not meant to be. It's a little bit too much. I hope Matt's okay. He's a beast. I'm sure he's fine.
12 stitches.
Yeah, that's, it's just like every other time these things, when these things happen, it's always, like you say, it's unfortunate, but it adds to the story somehow. So it's like it's a weird place to be.
Something Evil Dose and I were talking about off camera is the fact the AEW's use of blood this episode, and it was going to be a part of my segment of the week. But since we're talking about it, the use of blood this week really effectively helped every story. That flip Sammy did off the stage into that table through Matt, that was just brilliant. Matt already bleeding like a stuffed pig. It worked. Sammy got heat. Like, they wanted Sammy to get heat. He got it.
Right, but it was an accident.
Well, no, he was supposed to throw the chair at him. Like
you said, there was a stunt chair, and then there was an actual chair right next to each other. My thing is, who's the idiot that put the stunt chair right next to the actual rear one, especially with Sammy and Matt, that are going to do a brawl amongst the both of them. And of course, the chaos is going to happen. Sammy could have, it was kind of obvious at that point. Sammy could have grabbed the right chair or he could have grabbed the wrong chair. He just happened to grab the wrong one by mistake. My thing is, they should have just had two stunt chairs next to each other. That way, they covered all their bases there.
That's the second time. I'm sorry. That's the second time that they tried a gimmick chair shot to the head and someone got split the fuck open.
Yeah. I mean, a real chair that the timekeeper or whoever sits on weighs 22 pounds. A stunt chair weighs about 5 or 6 pounds. He really needs to know the difference. The interesting part about this is that, I think that it did in its own way enhance it, accidentally or otherwise. It was supposed to be brutal and look like bringing the heat and light a fire under what was otherwise sort of like a cobbled together sort of silly feud. But it sounds like Sammy, they said they gave him a stern talking to in the back. So, him using the R word 5 years ago is going to be treated more roughly than this. And listen, I can distinguish those things. I can explain why. There is a perfectly plausible way to rationalize it. It just seems that Sammy's not having a very good summer.
No.
Nope, he is not.
And at 45, I'm not sure how good Matt's head is. I mean, I don't know if this is good for Matt.
I don't either, but it worked, though. Like, it really invested me in the feud. Like, that's one thing that I do say. It was effective, however you cut it. So, I mean, I got to appreciate that. Mr. Villain wanted to talk about something, but he's not back real quick. So we'll jump down to this. AEW and NXT ratings for overnight came in. AEW won 900,001 to 756. Those are, I wouldn't be surprised in a year if AEW maybe bypasses
The
Raw
million
and
mark.
SmackDown.
Actually, that's right. True.
I mean,
I don't want to speculate on any of that, but those are good numbers for both shows.
yeah, that's almost 1.6 million people watching wrestling on Wednesday night. Period.
Yeah,
I'll
say
Matt
this.
Cardona equals ratings.
Yeah, I'll say this: if AEW put that show that they just put on Wednesday against Raw on Monday, personally, I would have watched AEW over Raw. I wonder how many other people would have watched AEW over Raw, given the fact that AEW had this show and Raw had that show.
Probably 1.7 million. Oh. All right, villain.
Oh,
You want to
yeah.
talk? You're up, homie. Tell us about Jericho and Orange Cassidy. Tell us about the debate.
Oh, it was interesting. This weekend, yeah, it was interesting. So I'm gonna start off with that. Jericho always looks cool. Jericho always just could talk some shit, bro. Like no other wrestler's doing right now in the game. Like Jericho is a GOAT. Like I don't know where you put him in on a Mount Rushmore, but like he's reaching that top level of like how can you argue against him, man? And you know, Orange Cassidy was like, you know, quiet for the most part. Eric Bischoff, that was kind of a little surprise for all of us, I would think. You know, this is first time showing up on AEW. It was a good segment. Orange Cassidy talked his shit, got Jericho riled up, but at the end of the day, Jake Hager was landing on body blows. When he put the hands in the pockets, I didn't think that Cassidy was that fucked up, but he ran into a Judas effect, and you know he woke up comatose. So I think it was effective.
Yeah, it was definitely hell. They are protecting the fuck out of that Judas effect elbow. Like that is probably the most protected move in AEW in wrestling. Period. Let's be real. That is the most protected move in wrestling. Oh fuck that. All right, Ryan.
It was all right.
I like the fact this whole segment, there's one thing that really stood out to me, and it's when they asked that climate change question, and Jericho's just like, the fuck is this bullshit, and blah, blah, blah. And then Orange just grabs that mic and pulls it over and just lays the presidential winning question of all time. And then that last question where he's like, why is Orange Cassidy, or why does this mean so much to you? And Jericho starts to talk his shit, and he just looks at him and says, shut up. Just shut up. It just, like, it was baller. Like, he put, I go back to when Jericho first debuted in WWE, and he came out, started shit talking The Rock, and then The Rock put him back in his place. That was kind of the feel of this lecture. Orange Cassidy made the list.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. You know, behind me right now is the moon. That's what I was trying to get in the picture. That's actually the moon right there. I'm outside. But yeah, it was good. You know, it's like he can't do that every week. You know, Orange Cassidy can't really talk shit like that every week, maybe, unless his character grows. But like, it was surprising and it was good. The format was great, and this was a good segment. Really good segment.
Before everybody else gets involved in talking about this, I do want to say that Cassidy laid out straight facts in that debate. He had Jericho on the ropes, regardless of every topic that was thrown at him. Cassidy showed that he didn't have to say much, only when it was important. And one thing we all knew was important is the fact that the environmental change that's happening to our country right now is definitely drastically affecting the rising climate of our oceans, regardless of what city and state you live in. The moment you go out to your beaches and you see that the high...
So, Evil Dose, what did you think of this segment?
I was enjoying listening to Cassidy Mark trying to recreate that.
Shit.
I thought this segment was Dickensian. I mean, I think it's funny that we've gone 4 people in, and no one mentioned really Eric Bischoff because there was really no reason to. He added almost nothing to the segment. I think he was a throwaway. I thought it started out. What's that?
He did good. He played his part good.
Sure, but I mean, did you need to get Eric Bischoff for that?
No,
he was there for the shock value.
Just to be fair for him, he did his part, and I like the part where he was like, "Spent 24 years, and I've always knew that you didn't like me," and I was like, "Yeah, that's pretty much probably true."
Yeah, no, that was his best line of the night. I mean, I thought that the first question was really stupid. Why do you hate Orange Cassidy so much, or whatever it was, or why do you hate each other so much? But listen, the climate change question and answer, that it was brilliant, perfectly executed. And then when it turned into a real promo, I think that was well done as well. So I think the segment was a win. I think it started off a little bit weird. It's just been a weird week where, I watched the women's show, and we had Medusa. We had Raul Guerrero doing the ring announcing. Cameron came back. There was, I think, someone else made an appearance as well. No, I knew that, but like someone from yesteryear. Oh, Veda Scott was on there. So there's been a lot of nostalgia in 1 week, and I think maybe Bischoff could have been better saved for another occasion where we didn't have so much else going on. But that's nitpicking. I thought the segment was good, and a year from now, people will remember that Orange Cassidy answer. In 10 years, they'll remember something about that Orange Cassidy answer, and that's a winning wrestling segment.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. And then,
as I said, Cassidy can talk when it's important.
I think Cassidy's going to win this match against Jericho next week. That's just my prediction. Just the way that he's gonna win the rubber match.
He got that knocked out. Bow, Judas effect.
I think he's going to see that Judas effect coming and get out of the way, or he's not going to. He'll know it's coming, and that'll be that. He hit him with that Superman punch.
Cassidy's not only going to try. Cassidy is going to give you his best effort, which is 10%.
All right. And then the main event of AEW, Jon Moxley, Darby Allin, and some shenanigans from MJF and Wardlow. Somebody want to break this match down?
No one wants to talk about that.
We'll do it.
Oh,
sorry.
You want to talk about the promo?
I want to talk about the match.
Let's talk about the match first.
I want to talk about the match. The match, I came into this not wanting to see it because I was skeptical because I was just pissed off with the booking. Like, his number 5 contenders getting a title match on Dynamite. But, ratings were whatever. They're doing what they got to do. Moxley cut a promo beforehand talking about comparing how, Darby is like a young him. And it's funny, Darby came out with that mask on. But the match was going to be brutal, and they told the story exactly how they were supposed to tell the story, which was Darby's not going to give up. He's not going to quit. And he even got to the point where, he busted a Jon Moxley open, going back to the blood that Matt was talking about. And then they just kept going. And then they actually told a story to build to the all-out match. In MJF's little promo, little video, he was like, somebody asked him about Darby Allin, and he was like, yeah, like, I want a little 125-pound little twerp to be the one I face it all out. And then he kind of was like, of course he wants that. And then he came in, and that's what busted Jon Moxley open, was that belt shot. I think that's what it was. And then, I couldn't believe it. Coming in as a skeptic, at that moment, I actually thought for a second that Darby was going to win. They got me. You know what I'm saying?
That's a coffin drop. Like, after he gets clocked with the belt, Darby scampers up and hits that coffin drop. I was like, that's it.
Got me.
Oh. And then he kicks out. Like, the ref's hand was like that close to the mat, and Mox kicks out. It's like,
Yeah.
damn.
And then he put him out of his misery, and then he held him in his arms, and he was just like, like he'll always ride. You can always ride with me. Like that right there solidified it. That's how, I was mad about it, but in the end, they did a great job. And that's how you put someone over in a losing effort. And Darby absolutely 100% has to be the one to beat Cody for the TNT championship. It has to happen. That's the full story. So,
yeah. What I like about it too is something, the finishing sequence where Darby goes up for a second coffin drop and Mox just rolls over and catches him in that you could almost call it a coquina clutch. I mean, they don't have a name for it yet, and he almost puts him out. He's
rear naked choke. He's doing MMA moves. It's a rear naked choke. Did you see Darby do this? Did you see him?
I did. That was great. But then he
didn't Darby Allin? Yeah, but didn't Darby Allin lose like that before? So
not quite like
it was
that.
either Moxley or Cody.
I mean,
it was
he
pretty much
died.
That when he jumped off and the guy caught him and then put him in the move.
Well, Cody put him in the pin, but Moxley almost killed him when he put him in the paradigm shift off the middle rope. Darby broke his neck.
That paradigm shift he gave it, and he gave him the super paradigm shift. He's got that just normal paradigm shift where it's just your standard double underhook DDT, but then he's got that massive paradigm shift where like the dude damn near gets into a jackknife position, and then he hits him with the paradigm shift.
He does that jackknife in New Japan, and I like it when they call it the Death Rider. Why? Because it looks like death. So whenever Mox does that move, not the quick not that quick snap he does with the paradigm shift, that's his finisher, but when he does that lift into the air to a jackknife DDT with a double underhook, that Death Rider move, I love it every time he does that. You know why? Because it's two things. One, Moxley is damn serious when he pulls that out of his trick. And two, the match is over. That's it. It's been rare. Just like the Judas effect, the paradigm shift itself has been heavily protected. And when Moxley went to do the super paradigm shift, or what I'm calling it, or I will pick his New Japan name, the Death Rider, it shows that even then, Moxley, he just wanted to submit Darby Allin. He did not want to use that move, which is why he went to the turnbuckle 3 times doing the whole crucifix on his chest, like praying to himself, like, I don't want to go no further. I don't want to go no further. Until finally he I know I gotta take him out. Forgive me. And then boom, Death Rider, and cradles him. Good psychology, good storytelling. And it's one of those instances. Yeah, if Darby is not gonna have that Bane belt, then he definitely, it's not like he needs it. It's more of that TNT championship should fit him. Why? Because Darby Allin is someone who I can see carry a belt in the future for more than maybe have a insanely dominant run, like a 6-8 month run. That's just me fancy booking, but I can see Darby Allin holding a belt like that for 6 to 8 months.
Oh, that would be dope. And before I send it to somebody else, I forgot to mention one thing about the very beginning of the match. It's how you knew the match was going to be brutal. Darby smacked him. And then Jon Moxley punched that dude in the face and legit made him bleed in the mouth. Darby got up and was bleeding in his mouth. He was like, okay. I was like, okay. So, yeah, someone else take it. I had to throw that in because I forgot about it.
Well, I think everybody covered the match pretty well, so I'll cover the extracurricular part of the match that was pivotal to it. And this is going to the bigger picture of things AEW does that WWE has forgotten to do or doesn't want to do. But you had that promo with MJF. He's asked the question. He's like, oh, yeah, you think I'll worry about the 150 emo kid? Yeah, I'll take that. So everything makes sense. MJF hasn't forgotten about that title. Darby hasn't forgotten about that title. Cage still wants that title. Taz is talking about it. You've got people talking about the title. In WWF, you only have one person at a time talking about the world title. It's ridiculous. If you're going to try and make something seem like a shoot, make it seem like a shoot. But anyway, so MJF and Wardlow come down. Wardlow distracts the ref. MJF knocks Moxley out, which makes it believable that the Darby, who was out at the time, didn't really know what was going on, but he still takes advantage of the situation. And maybe he is going to pull that win out of his ass that nobody was expecting because they're a new brand. Maybe they would do it. So, yeah, they had me believing that. Now, it didn't hurt that on the other channel was Adam Cole and Pat McAfee. Who cares? But I wanted to see how that played out. And it builds to this MJF Moxley match. And we still don't know if there's anything going on with Wardlow and MJF. And now MJF has this new crew, and there's that woman that he always wants to has to have her smile, in the Me Too, speaking out sexual harassment era. I mean, it's just all these little things that are there that they're putting together. I mean, it's not just they're trying, they're executing, but even when they fail, they're still trying. And, I appreciate seeing the effort, but it's even better when it works. But no, I thought this was I think it was a good match, and I think that's I don't even want to call it a side story, but that parallel story was really well done. It was done perfectly in the middle, and I think MJF tied it all together. Why he was going to help another face, Darby Allin, because he's a little guy, and then MJF was like, yeah, I can take him.
Hit it, villain.
Yeah, I already talked about this match. I thought it was, it just
Not with us.
Moxley is not the biggest guy. He's not the tallest. He's not the widest. He's not the strongest guy. And the Darby Allin is half his size, to be generous. So there was never a point where I thought, he was going to win. Even with the MJF interference, I thought MJF and Wardlow could really pimp. Them guys came out looking clean. The match was entertaining, because these guys both have pride. But I can't see a guy that small beating a guy for a heavyweight title unless he's like one of the greatest wrestlers in the world. And Darby Allin is not that at the moment. So, it was entertaining, and it builds the story up and it pushes the story forward.
All right. So, gentlemen, let's get to our final segment of the week.
But thank you all for watching. This is Jack Club Trivia. Everybody, have a good night. Stay safe.
We being ready.
Yeah.
Get it. Cross
Dylan,
the
cheating on
Yeah,
us.
look at that. Okay, well, we tried.
That's all right.
I swear to God, if it's animated, I would have nailed it.
All right.
Yeah, I would have nailed it too.
All right, guys. This is the segment of the week. We're gonna go around, talk about one thing in the world of professional wrestling that stood out the most. It could be a promo, it could be a match, it could be somebody in a match. I'm gonna go first, and it was actually a promo said by my boy Marks at the end on AEW social media. And it's when he gave serious props to Darby. You can see that Darby's still in the corner getting worked on. He's got, people are cheering Mox and everything. And he looks at the camera. He brings the camera up close. And he goes, basically, you're a lone wolf like me. I got your back whenever. He shows mad respect to Darby. And you could really see it even at the end of Dynamite where he's holding him. He's like, I didn't want to do this to you because you remind me of me, kind of a father-son, whatever you want to call it, sort of feel. and then he calls basically an MGF a pussy, a spineless pussy. That was my favorite promo of the week. That and the Fiend thing. That was mine.
I'll just go next. My segment of the week, and it's sort of like a mixture of two segments, and this jumps to last couple. As I said, the last couple episodes of Suplex City Chats, I've been getting back involved with watching Impact Wrestling, and this week on Impact, we had two good special segments. The first segment I'm going to talk about is just mainly it was the Motor City Machine Guns were being interviewed regarding their journey. Alex Shelley gives a great yes, here we go. Yes, here we go. Deal with it. Alex Shelley gives a very heartfelt promo talking about him and Chris Sabin's journey. How Chris Sabin has had his ACL torn on 3 separate occasions, and how Sabin was able to build himself back up. Even the second time he tore that ACL, he came back to Impact and became TNA World Heavyweight Champion. The whole bottom point of that segment was Shelley talking about how no matter what happens in their careers, the one thing they've always learned is to bounce back. And when they've fallen on hard times, they come back up and they hit back harder and they always succeed, which signifies them being the tag team champions, which then follows with the North, wanting their rematches happen. But mainly the Shelley promo of that was my favorite, was definitely one of my top favorites. And then the second segment I want to talk about happened at the last end of Impact. And this was regarding Rich Swann. At Slammiversary, Rich Swann had returned from an injury and participated in a 5-way match for the Impact World title, which also led to Eric Young going back. Eric Young re-injures Rich Swann, which they built the story on what is Swann's future. And in this segment, Swann had pretty much said straight out, he's retired. He's not coming back. He's done with wrestling, at least as far as we know with Impact. Now, I've been trying to do some research to see exactly how bad his injury is on his leg, his ACL, or at least his tendon, but haven't found much. But the point of this promo was that Swann is pretty much giving his, unintended, his swan song. He's saying that throughout his career, his 15 years wrestling, he has enjoyed every moment, entertained the audience, and how, unfortunately for him, he has to think about his family and his future. And of course, like every wrestler retired, you get the whole locker room coming out to say congratulations, thank you, cheering him on as he walks out to the back. But then the segment ends with Eric Young attacking him and then smashing a crutch up against his injured leg. So while the segment did a great job of having Rich Swann use his platform to give an emotional, heartfelt goodbye, at the same time, this was still another opportunity for Eric Young to once again get that heel heat for his character. Now, there was definitely a lot great stuff on AEW, Raw, and NXT, but someone getting back in Impact and seeing this episode of Impact, those two segments were very good, along with the matches that they had.
Right on. Evil Dose, how about you, brother?
All right, well, I've got a few little things. First about going back to AEW. This is about Matt Cardona. I appreciate that everyone gets a chance to work. And, and I know that Matt Cardona was actually pretty happy with his position in WWE. But then he gets released and he's talking about how he was going to be creative. The same story everyone else tells. And it's probably true. And he's got 3.5 months to work on this. And he doesn't change a thing. Except he gets bigger. But he doesn't use a power move set. And not only is he bigger, period, but he's that much bigger because the cast is basically smaller in AEW. And that was a little bit annoying that he didn't come out with any sort of character other than Cody's friend. And he was using the same sort of hype bro type of move set. Moving on to NXT, one really little thing, and this is sort of an ongoing thing, which is maybe I might be the only person in the universe that cares about it. But Santos Escobar has his 2 guys and they're kidnapping people, and there's always a driver, and we never see the driver. And I don't know if that's just because the driver is just plain a driver, or if there's some 4th person who's going to emerge. But I am tintillated by that entire concept of who the 4th person is. And then one to watch I'm continuing to enjoy the North American title tournament. The match was good this week, but I'm glad Damian Priest won because I love Damian Priest. I think he's one to watch. He's definitely someone who's got bigger things ahead of him. That said, the other matches Bronson Reed was a little bit of a reach, but what has Oney Lorcan done to be in that match? And Ridge Holland was extremely impressive, but I don't think I've ever seen him on TV before, let alone what has he ever done to get a North American title shot. I mean, I know who he is. He was the rugbyer, got hurt, he got into wrestling. He's in NXT UK. He looked great. He looks like sort of like a short Brock Lesnar. He's he's got that sort of had that old Watchman cap kind of thing with the club. Looks like an old Pinkerton or some turn of the century Irish mafia guy or whatever. Some sort of thug muscle. But what did he do to deserve to be in this match? And NXT has a pretty deep roster. I mean, where's Tommaso Ciampa? Has he just disappeared? I mean, there are other people they could have put in this, and so that's a little bit of a gripe. But the right guy won, so I'm excited to see where this goes. So the North American tournament continues to be something to watch. I will say that this Adam Cole, Pat McAfee thing is one to skip.
JB3, what was your highlight of the week?
I'm just going to go ahead and throw something that I don't know if anybody mentioned it yet, but everybody already picked a lot of great things, and we talked about a lot of great things. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that one of the bright spots for me was Apollo Crews finally getting that new United States Championship. That was nice.
Yeah.
He finally got to get this, he came and he finally got to beat MVP and take the actual new United States Championship, get pictures with it. It's finally official. So now they can do something, whatever it is they're going to do for SummerSlam, and then the next 3 weeks of pay-per-views that they have after that, evidently.
You're not wrong there.
So that would be mine.
I want to touch on that real quick. When Apollo's music hit and he came out, it felt like a big thing. Like, it really did. Like, I don't know if it's just the fact he hasn't been on TV in so long, or if he had Corona, which we all know. But it just, when his music hit and he came out, it's kind of like, it just looked right. I don't know.
It was a good say. It was a feel good moment. He deserved that win. It was good to see him with both titles lifting them, and that it was a good moment.
No, I like that too. Yeah, I like that they weren't gonna take that belt away from Apollo. I mean, his program with MVP is still gonna continue, but I like how not only was this a great moment to solidify Apollo as the real U.S. champion, I even like how in that promo afterwards, like he says, he's going to give that belt to his kids, and he's going to hold on to that belt that MVP paid for. I like that cockiness he was showing, because it's like, one, he's earned it because of all the crap that MVP has been putting him through, and two, even though storyline-wise MVP says he paid for that belt, if I was in Apollo Crews' position, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna show this belt off. Yeah, someone else put like over $250,000 for this belt. Oh, you bet your ass I'm gonna be swinging this motherfucker around town.
I'm not as hyped as Ryan is for this shit. I thought it was Wrestling 101. When he comes back, he's gonna win the title. Retire the other title. I guess retire. What is the proper word for that shit? Unify,
Retire.
Whatever it is, case may be. The title, and Apollo Crews is probably gonna have this belt maybe for 6 to 8 weeks before he loses it to Ali or some fucking ninja. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, it did what it had to do.
I hope he loses it to someone named some fucking ninja.
Yep, there you go. And be the big black guy.
I'm okay with that.
All right.
Yeah, put the picture, bro.
I got the picture of big black guy.
You got the
I
picture?
got the picture of big black guy.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the picture I sent you for my highlight of the week.
My bad. I didn't realize you sent me something. Hold up. Oh
shit. All right.
Okay.
Anyway. Okay. All right. My pick for the week is gonna be from the AEW Women's Tag Team Cup Tournament. The Deadly Draw, Night 1.
My bad.
That's fine,
I forgot
brother.
about
It's all good, man.
I got
It's
you.
okay. It's okay. Yeah. I want to talk about this because I really enjoyed this. You know, on some real shit, you know, it's like this is something that I was intrigued with long enough to watch the whole thing. It's 37 minutes long. It starts off very different, you know, with a different atmosphere. You know, I believe it's Tony Schiavone was there, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah,
It's Tony Schiavone,
Scott.
and then it was, Betta Scott. Where I was like, I don't know who the hell this is, but she's talking on the mic. She's clean. You know, you can hear what she's saying. She knows the wrestling business right away, where you can't even challenge that. You start hearing her voice, and then we get Medusa coming back in the building. Yes, that is the tag team that surprised me because the story. I'm gonna talk about that in a second. But yep. So Medusa comes out. She cuts a straight promo, not even a promo. You know, storyline stuff. She stuck to the script. It didn't go on too long. It was nice and sweet. So it was like, okay, hell yeah, Medusa's nice. Then you have Eddie Guerrero's daughter announcing, you know, not announcing, sorry. It's where she was the ring announcer, you know, calling people to the ring. Yeah. So that was really cool. You know, the first match kind of was like, okay. It was kind of cute when you seen you know, Ali like tell the commentator like look away, and then she pulled out the same color, whatever. The match was so and so, her against her and Brandy. That match, they won it. It was so and so, but the next match was the surprising match of the week because you had Awesome Kong and the ex-WWE chick come in the ring, but then you had Ty Conti, and she just became an MVP that night. Like what? Like it was so beautifully scripted. Where Awesome Kong, not Awesome Kong, Nyla Rose. Sorry, I fucked that up. Nyla Rose comes into the shit, and then she's working her own, you know, the woman working her leg. So there's a storyline building right there where you're like, oh shit, okay. And yo, Ty Conti, man, this was the moment of the week for me. When Nyla Rose grabbed her here and she turned around and said, "You crazy?" And then she started kicking her leg. I was like, yo, this shit is about his business. And they got the surprising win. So I think you know, next week I think it'll be intriguing. We gotta see where the teams are gonna go. But this was cool for me as a fan of wrestling. Women's wrestling gets a lot of flack. This was okay, man. It was cool. You had some memorable spots. You had some you know, some legends coming in, whatever you want to call them. And I thought for 37 minutes, this was pretty good, man. Like I thought this was, you know, this was what you expect, man. It was tight. It was clean. It was good. Some of the stuff didn't make sense. Brandy's heel turn out of nowhere. That shit was kind of like, but I thought Ty Kachi was like hands down wrestler of the week for me. Like, she impressed the shit out of me.
Yo, that kick to the face.
Ooh.
When you were saying she was like grabbed her and she was like no, and then she kicked her, and then when she kicked her in the knee and she dropped down and she was just like,
blah!
Oh my gosh, right in the face. That was either really, really well done or stiff as fuck. One of the two.
I know what you liked about this episode. I'm not sure if it was the wrestling. That picture was. I will say this. I am a big fan of heel Brandy, and I always have been. And I know that there's something wrong with me on the whole thing, but I love that promo where she goes, I know she was just talking about me, and she was clout bragging. Everything's about me. I know you're jealous that you didn't get your action figure, but you know the brand officer, and she's doing the little dance.
I got you. Let's go.
And then she goes, let's talk about it over a drink. It was perfect. That was as good. That was as good as anything MJF has ever done.
It was very contradictory from where we had Brandy at the start, how when they were picking their color chipped, and Brandy's all being like simple face, like doing a simple interview. And then after the match, I understand, yeah, she's confident. She's rising on that. So I understand that. I don't think she's full heel yet. I think she's showing those heelish tendencies. So, and also, look, I've been trying as long as I can with Allie. I mean, look, I've seen Allie doing her work on Impact 4 in the past and how she actually is like a very competent wrestler. But when I see her in AEW, it's almost as if I'm watching two different people. I'm like, wait, what happened to the Allie from Impact? I'm seeing a different Allie here in AEW. She's almost at times a little uncoordinated or stiff. Maybe she just doesn't have that great chemistry with most of the women there. So, and the fact that she's being used less in the match, I think kind of helps because then you don't see most of her weaknesses out there in the open. But I think Allie is a good character. It's still a slow build. She still feels like an odd one out. But honestly, yeah, Conti and Anna Jay, I'm really happy they won. I am so happy they won. As much as I like the idea of Nyla Rose being a dominant beast, she needs to go back to singles. She needs to dominate in singles to get that championship again with Vicky. For this Women's Cup draw, this feels like a great opportunity for women who've mainly been on dark, like Anna Jay, like Mel, who unfortunately looked even worse coming out of this. But I just think, yeah, that's one of the things I said earlier in one of our episodes. The Women's Cup could have been a great opportunity for women who's been on dark a lot to get their opportunities to shine in the ring, to get that huge spotlight. And what we saw with Anna Jay and Ty Conti, I mean, God damn.
We know it's going to be the Nightmare Sisters and Anna Jay and Ty Conti in the finals. Let's be real.
Most likely. Unless there's a different team combination that we didn't expect.
No, I don't know. All right, gentlemen. I don't have anything else left to do, so let's start with this. Mr. Paynemaker, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Well, one, you can all find me here on Suplex City Chats. I'll be here every Thursdays as the Paynemaker, but if a certain Orange Cassidy segment hits the top spot for the highlights, the Cassidy Mark's gonna rear his head back up again. But other than that, you guys can follow me on Twitter, Caramel Pain. Also, check me out around TFC Trivia. I help run their Franchise Wars division. We're nearing the final. We're getting the final legs of our tournament, and we're gonna once again go back to the drawing board and start a new tournament. Franchise Wars is not a one and done thing; it's gonna keep going. And I also defend the singles championship on TMG Trivia.
All right, Mr. Villain, how about you?
Well, of course, you can find me every Thursday night here at Suplex City. Flow like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I am the resident villain, the HNIC. When it's talking about wrestling, I'm the best one around. I show it every Thursday when I battle these clowns. You can find me on Facebook at Jack of All Trivia. We got movies, tag teams, IG, comic, whatever you want over there. And then you can find me always saying, oh yeah, when we talk about wrestling, that shit is fire. Hell yeah.
Damn. JB3, can you top that, brother?
Probably not. But you can find me at Nerd Entertainment Network, Combat Wrestling Trivia, and also here every Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern, Suplex City Chats. It's always a great time.
All right. Evil Dose, how about you, brother?
All right, folks. Thanks a lot. You can find me here on Suplex City Chats, Thursdays at 10 Eastern. Very excited to be part of the crew. This must be what it's like to have friends. I'm not really sure. Not experienced that before. But, hey, close enough. So that's pretty cool. You can follow me on Twitter, IcarusFellMD. Also, very excited. Me and Shaheen Shagan, we have launched our own podcast. Episode 3 should drop tomorrow. It's called The Garden of Doom. Very little wrestling. So check it out. I hope you like it. And very excited that next week, as a little preview, episode 3 hasn't dropped yet, but we're already doing a crossover. We already have guests, the Bobbies from Inhuman Experience, Bobby Blade and Bobby Anthem. So that should be fun too. So excited about that. Check out Garden of Doom. The trademark application is in the works. So this is big time. If you want to see me on Facebook, Solid Monster Sounds Off, Facebook wrestling page. Thanks, everyone.
Right on. And you can find me right here Friday night, Thursday nights. This Friday night, we're doing game night at 10 o'clock Eastern right here. The man over there, JB3, may be playing. We don't know. We've started a game that we call Movie Mania. Has no relation to somebody who may or may not say otherwise. And then Saturday night, we have After Dark Takeover, as well as right here on this channel, I am the Game Zone Commissioner. You like to yell at people about video games, definitely check us out. And over on TMG Trivia, I kind of spearhead the singles division. You want to get into some movie trivia, talk, see if you know your knowledge, definitely do that. Reach out to me at Facebook at McGrath. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching on Twitch, give us a follow. Guys, this was another Suplex City Chats.